Good evening, everyone. Oop, sorry, just give me a second. All right, we're back for the 112th episode of Book of Hours, playing as the artist. Now, we pretty much have our work cut out for us. Sorry, I drank something really, really cold, and my tongue feels a little numb. Hopefully I'm not stumbling over my words too much. We more or less have our work cut out for us. We're going to be focusing on getting desires and dissolutions up to level 7 before the end of autumn. But again, if I can, it would be nice to try and push a little bit further. So what we're going to do, first of all, we'll let Auroral Contemplations get leveled up. What I'll probably do is get this. I'll go to the Sweet Bones. I'll just level that, or I'll just restore that right away. And I think what I will do is I will use Winter this time around with Mr. Kill, because I am slightly inclined towards opening up another area for, using the Daidumos and that. There's a small argument to be made that I should maybe try and preserve some more elements of the soul, or not elements of the soul, more persistent memories for a potential Numa. But I'm not that. I don't quite feel like I'm at that point yet. There's an approach that you can take in Numa that can be very helpful, but I'm not going to worry too much about that this time around. So we will speak with Mr. Kill. Mr. Kill always enjoys a chance to catch up with me. If you don't choose a topic, Mr. Kill will offer help as a friend. And we'll get working on the Faust right away. The skill is now level 5. Its power aspects have also increased. Alright, Tuppence will buy me a hearty meal in a quiet place where I can rest and gather my thoughts. I have carried a memory like a flambeau safe through the mazes of night. This will complete once dawn has come. We'll see what the weather brings, but let's So we'll set aside this Arab to level up desires and dissolutions. The focus now is going to be on a confounding parable, contradiction, and salt. Excuse me. Oops. Alright, then the salt. Alright, now, again, it would be nice if I could somehow get an Ascendant Harmony, but that's not relevant to what I want to do right now. I should maybe make sure that I have the tea that I need, because I've got a lot of the second flush Assam, but what I'm really looking for right now is the... actually, I guess this one would work. The Lapsang Souchong. I know there's one in here. I guess for all of these, it's all full, so... I thought I had another one kicking around somewhere, but... Fog. Okay, actually that helps us with desires and dissolutions, so we'll work with that. Mr. Kill can always spare a few hours to help a friend. Now, it's worth always taking a second here, so when it comes to something like the fog, you know, it's a higher level moon. Now, technically, higher level moon is accessible to us through the Wormwood Dream, so that's not the sort of thing that I would stop everything for. But I don't believe we have an equivalent high level knock memory, although a curious hunch maybe gives us 3 knock. But again, it's one of these cases where it's just like, okay, do we have something enabled here that I wouldn't normally get? So I'll do a quick little bit of math. I don't think this works out, but if we've got Reverend Timothy, so he's got 1. So then we've got Fog, which is 3. We've got Sacrament Asite is 6, so that's 1 and 4, 10. Then we could, I guess it's really a candle at that point. Well, Shapt is 2, so that brings it up to 12. So then we would need to find another 3. So, probably specifically for Reverend Timothy, we've already given him the Sacrament Asite, so we couldn't give him another drink. And I don't think there is another, like, I don't think there's a knock food. But if we were to give him the Aglyphotis scented oh no, hang on. We're 1 short. Alright, I think I worked it out so that with Reverend Timothy, depending on the candle we used, I believe there was actually a way we could do this. But the thing is, there's other things for us that we can do. And I believe with Mr. Kill, the winter is a little more reliable here. But again, our focus right now is on sky things. So let's, before I get too tied up, proffer a tool. I can lend my assistants something to help increasing their abilities. We'll use the Didymos as well. And then again, we wind up talking with Mr. Kill. The aim here is just to generate whatever memories I need for desires and dissolutions, but given that that's the only thing that I need to do with my... given that that's the only... like, the only skill upgrade that I need to do, I don't know, like, it's an easier day. It's just one that I want to make sure that I because I only have this one lesson, I want to make sure that I'm doing more than just the basics. So I can discuss this memory with my assistants. Okay. I'll just have to remember not to... not to use up all the elements. Okay, it is written, Musgrave, 4th of the DeWolf line, writes tentatively about the Covenant of Brandkrug and the legacy of the sacred inks he calls Incasta Potentialia. As the light passeth through a prism into many colors, so the great ink separateth into the lesser inks, and the lesser inks into the inks minor. Musgrave coyly refuses to talk of the great inks, or else refuses to admit he doesn't know much about them. He insists that Ugol and Stargol, which can be mixed with sufficient nectar or sky aspect, are sufficient for most befitting purposes. Moth, the Grail, and the Egg Unhatching all tell different stories of the world's beginning. One of those stories is the oldest, but may not be the first. Atlas Nona. As the sun his course, Joel of the Bridge, retired soldier and sometimes tollkeeper, wrote this epic poem about Alexander's famously inexplicable decision at Issus to withdraw from the war with the Achaemenids and his subsequent return to Macedonia. Alexander meets at Issus with Darius, king of kings, for 3 days and 3 nights. On the first day, the two men trade threats. On the second, promises. On the third, secrets. Darius tells Alexander something so shattering that he retires to his tent to consider matters of strength and matters of mastery. At dawn on the 4th day, Alexander announces, the sun has his course upon which he returns, and so do I. He returns to Macedonia, executing 2 of his captains when they dispute his decision. He brings with him the names of a blind god and a rite of sacred betrayal. For Joel opines, without betrayal there would be an end to war. Better now. So there's the Faust. We'll use that with Mr. Kill first. The Sun Disfigured, a scroll of anthropodon parchment written in the golden ink called Uzalt. The author of the text calls herself the Elegabline. Sometimes she seems to be Sunset Celia, the Watchman's name. Sometimes she seems to be Lady Tryphon, the Grail Long. It is unclear whether these are separate entities or the same person. It may be unclear even to the writer. The flaws in the Sun's plan are elucidated. The Sun's plan itself is never entirely clear, but it is a project of some kind to enter, possess, or surrender to the glory, the pure light above the mantis. This book suggests ways in which that plan might fail. So we're not going to use that to level up Desires and Dissolutions, but it's just nice to have around. And finally, The Crossing to Noon. The mystic Garcia Saure gives a picturesque account of the adventures of Franklin Bancroft, Prince of Wines, and Ava de Wolf, the Pale Lady, on their way to the hidden island of Noon. For a long time, the Blackbone pondered her next move, until the moon dared to peep from behind a cloud, and the prince completed the composition of his third sestina. The lady met the blind gaze of its open pores, waiting for the tide. Garcia Sauri acknowledges in an epilogue that it is widely known that Ava in fact tragically drowned herself and her twin infant granddaughters, without ever making such a journey. But, he adds contemptuously, it is also widely known that the city unbuilt will so remain, and that only one history is ever written, and that Janus is a Mansus prank. So just as a check-in, we've got, for Desires and Dissolutions, we need 6. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So technically we just need 1 memory and we're good to go. I mean, with that in mind, it's kind of hard to say, why don't I just throw this Arab here? You know what? I think I will. Excuse me. Yeah, simple satisfaction ought to do the trick. Memories don't last long outside books, but it's made a difference for the day. So together we'll be watchful, boost lantern and sky. Now at this point I should pour the tea. Serve appropriately. Pour out. Pour it out. Now I need to find a place to put it. We'll settle for here for now. It's again just 1 sky, but it's what we need for a 12 sky challenge. My assistant and I are vigilant. I can offer my assistants something to drink. This will increase their aspects. They'll also be glad of the refreshment. Veiled Goddess Lapsang Suchong, named for an enigmatic minor deity whose charge is the healing of burns. Now, I'm letting this sit idle. Shouldn't be doing that. Come on. It is autumn when the leaves rustle. The silent lad lady has served me apple pie with steamed cream in the window nook. But yeah, I don't know. I probably should have thought a little bit more carefully about what exactly I needed for to level up Desires and Dissolutions. Actually, you know what? I didn't even need to read another book because we've got the Sun's weaknesses. But anyways, that's fine. We're good here. So, commandments for the preservation of all that exists. Black Ellie, Damascene matriarch of the Sisterhood of the Knot, was imprisoned by the Emperor Didius Julianus. She reportedly instructed that these secret doctrines be recorded in writing to preserve against their loss. Regrettably, the story goes, Didius Julianus ordered that the work be entombed with her as in an unmarked sepulchre. Ellie describes powerful protective incantations to be used in a variety of circumstances. It is essential that these protections be completed every 4th year to defend against the entry of the worms against the avidity of the wave and the wound. In the current history, at least, there is no indication that these protections have been performed regularly for at least the last 1,000 years. Okay, so let's level up Desires and Dissolutions, and then we are done in terms of potential expirations. When I thought I'd understood, I'd only begun. Now, for the rest of the day, a few things that I can do. So I do want to mess around with the with trying to get something like the Ascendant Harmony back. Actually, it might be an idea for me to take... I don't think I have that many desks which take Sky. Oh, this'll work. Okay, yeah, so any simple Sky gets me that. So let's take Ambrose's desk. I'll read What Does Not Bark. Now, while we're at it, it would not hurt for me to start cataloging and opening things. So let's catalog. And actually, I'm going to be a little more reckless with the cataloging. Let's make this a Curia one, actually, because I've got a second core to work with if it comes down to that. This book was probably written around the time of Hush House's Curia period, roughly the 1700s to 1800s. If I examine it, I can learn more about what knowledge it might contain. This book was probably written around the time of Hush House's nocturnal period, after the turn of the century. If I examine it, I can learn more about what knowledge it might contain. I'm already using the consider verb, but we'll definitely open this one, and then... yeah, I'm not sure what else to do with the core and the shaft. Down to the Grussians. This has boosted their aspects appropriately. So we'll still talk with Mr. Kill. I don't see a reason to rush opening up this the Gull Cloud. But I also didn't see... So the reason why I felt okay getting that extra satisfaction was there wasn't really a whole lot for me to do with the remaining elements of the soul. So yes, I'm messing around with my Faust, because my Faust is going to be a way that I can wind up generating more, some more Sky, like Sky memories. But other than that, you know, it's kind of, it's up to us to decide what to make of the day. All right, now I have an idea of this book's nature and its contents. Honey, a comprehensive guide. This is a fun one, actually. It's also not that difficult for us to read. But... And To a Pale Lady, a collection of Franklin Bancroft's letters to Ava de Wolf. And I don't remember if I have read this one or not. I feel like I have, but... Skill is now level 7. Its power aspects have also increased. Okay. It did also occur to me that I might want to try and make a curious hunch at the dispensary at some point. Dead men don't tell no bloody tales. Well, who'd listen? So this is a good start. This is going to be the sort of thing that I might be able to produce a Didymos out of. Better now. I think at this point we'll earn money at the Sweet Bones. Like we'll still generate memory. Or actually, I can't. I did just sort of take away my one chance to do. All right. Well, that's life. All right. What does not bark? Alexander Props writes, warily of Calyptra, a law, principle, or society which prevents the dissemination of dangerous knowledge. Calyptra, like the planet that occludes the star or the Doylean doll that fails to bark, can be identified only by its absence. Even the name, I think, must be a mask. Calyptra is said to make exceptions specifically for the libraries of the Watchman's Tree. Does it make those exceptions so the Hours can make use of them? For some reason, I thought that was the weather storm and not the like the memory, but that's fine. Am I missing something here? Did we not... I thought I was already working on an Ascendant Harmony. Clearly, I made a mistake. I mean, there it is. It's just really late in the day for me to be doing this. But what's my alternative, right? Okay, well, we'll craft the Ascendant Harmony, because I clearly made a mistake. Yeah, I don't know. Today could have been handled better, but I'll settle for the day's work. I think what I might wind up doing is just dumping the Faust into the Sweet Bones. Yeah, so when a minute is done, we're going to be crossing over. Yeah, we don't need to get clever about this, so I could offer help with correspondence and arithmetic. There's no school in Brandkrug, and not everyone here knows their letters. Now, if I am so inclined, I think I might be. Reading Honey, a Comprehensive Guide seems to be a decent way to spend... a decent way to spend the last day of autumn, because the elements of the soul that will come out are not that, the memories that'll come out, like there's not going to be that many lessons, and I'll still have the day left to work with it. So what I think I'll do here, after help with letters, I'm going to bring back the health. In fact, I could bring back anything, so maybe we bring back a Trist instead. With Keeper level Sky, an Ascendant Harmony might conjure a Didymos. Night is fallen, dawn will come soon. So yeah, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to read the Honey book overnight, and then we'll get to work on the... Oh, actually, no, we can't, because... Yeah, I can't bring back the Elemental Soul. Okay, well, that's fine. It's, half of the day is a little more scary, but... It's late. Another time? The gulls have made this their kingdom, and they have grown intolerant of interlopers. We will have to pacify or discourage them. Yeah, so a little bit of an odd way of doing the day, but what I think I'll do here is we'll read Honey, a Comprehensive Guide immediately. And then I will keep the Elements of the Soul in reserve, specifically because I want to have everything ready to go at the halfway point of the day. I guess the Faust will be the exception there, but... There's actually a couple of exceptions, but general principle holds that we'll make sure that the elements of the soul are available. Okay, so let's go Arab for Mrs. Kill. Mrs. Kill's mood always improves when I drop by. If you don't choose a topic, Mrs. Kill will offer help as a friend. Let's go... Now, Honey, a comprehensive guide. This is going to seem a little weird, but I'm relying on the fact that I'm probably going to need nectar with my health here. So we just need 6 nectar, and we've got that with Rites of the Roots now. So nectar full flower, I can master this mystery, enough nectar to match mystery nectar. So that's going to take us to the halfway point of the day. We're bringing in Mrs. Kill because I want to use her to, I want her to bring us up to, bring us some memories that we can work with to learn, or not learn, but actually I'll use this shot to make some money right away. Oh, great. Mrs. Kill stands ready to help. You can you always cheer me up, she says morosely. So yeah, sorry, what I'm trying to say is with Mrs. Kill, we're going to use her to generate some memories, and it's just kind of scattershot to try and make sure that we have what we need to level up whatever comes out of the other end of Honey, a comprehensive guide. Here we have the gull colony. Through all the Isle's long years, the gulls, heedless of our affairs, have taken their due from the sea and returned it to the rocks. Careful where you step. Here we've got the gaping darkness. Thunder prowls the entrance to this cave, a dying curse or a capricious storm spirit. It must be dealt with carefully. Okay, now one question I have here is about conjuring the Didymos. Oh, also, that hurricane lamp. Okay, so that we did get that back. So if I were to use it here, so if I did something like Faust, Ascendant Harmony, Applebright Euphonies, I think is the best I can do. Oh, actually, if I just add the Gale, then we're good to go. Okay. So, in that case, core the Mazarine Fife and Applebright Euphonies, which I don't have available to me. Okay, yeah, didn't quite think that through. Well, that's fine. We'll just let time go by. I probably shouldn't get too distracted by these side missions, because as fun as they are to do, like, the focus really is going to be on leveling up whatever I get out of the book. Harvey Haddington, pilot, polymath, confectioner, writes with great enthusiasm about the marvelous work of the bee. Now, I would imagine that we get insects and nectars out of this, so that's a fairly straightforward nectar and moth matter. But again, like, we don't want to build a turn around that unless we know for sure. Haddington insists that all the primary aspects, nectar, scale, heart, lantern, moth, grail, are possessed by bees and expressed in honey. Clearly, he points out that there are only 6 primary aspects, as honeycomb has only 6 angles. As I used to say in my youth, the day is done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. It is autumn when the leaves rustle. The silent landlady has served me apple pie with steamed cream in the window nook. It's possible I could have gotten a little more bold with getting the Ascended Harmony, but again, it's a kind of a free day right now, so. Okay, in 10 seconds we'll see what we're dealing with. Ugolink is prepared with these techniques, but so is Skinchuck Mead, and only Skinchuck Mead requires honey. Just as any beverage or foodstuff can be improved with the addition of honey, so any garden is improved by the presence of bees, even those bloody blomberendi. Okay, so we've got a contradiction. I always keep forgetting that contradiction comes out of that, and sure enough, we did wind up with insects and nectars. So the contradiction doesn't help us too much or hang on. No, it does have moon aspect, my bad. But I don't believe there's room for it on this shelf, so let's say this will become the gossip shelf, and this will become the contradiction shelf. Now I just need to hope for no more contradictions. Okay, so we know we want to use the health. What was I doing with this? This is a Didymos. So we'll make an Ascendant Harmony out of that shortly after. My easiest path here is to just level up insects and nectars and not think about it. So we will... move you down here. I like to keep Edict's Marshal somewhat high on the list. There we go. I'm no expert, but I'm no dabbler either. And then what I can do here is I can use one of the Fet to read Wrapped in the King or Duratio Quercum. Let's do Duratio Quercum because this might be a little more interesting now that we've got the field open. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. So the remaining question for the day, and this is going to be something that we handle at the start of next week, is what do I do with my remaining elements of the soul? So the specific reason why I worked with honey the way that I, the honey guide the way that I did, was because most of these, maybe not to a pale lady, but I suspect that these will be somewhat more difficult to get a, you know, like the lessons out of. Either they are going to be lessons for higher level skills that I have, so that means that, you know, I'm going to need to put more effort in. Those ones are actually the easy case. The difficult case is when I have multiple lessons, because I'm probably going to need more than one day to handle that. And of course, if you are unlucky enough to be at Numa when you know, when that comes up, you sort of need to move heaven and earth, or you just lose the lesson. You know, it's not the end of the world to lose a lesson, but a lesson is a reasonably valuable thing, so I'd like to be as good of a steward of it as I can. Now, I am due for a review of the books. Now, the winter and the sky stuff, I mean, yeah, technically I leveled up the Applebright Euphonies, but that's probably not going to move the needle that much. Nyx Abolix, Sevenfold Slaying of the Seven Coiled, and the Wound Wounds are definitely ones I want to get an eye on, because Sickle and Eclipse... I mean, the fact of the matter is, Sickle and Eclipse is one away from being as high as it can be, and technically I would say is sort of 2 points away from being the highest that that a trait is ever going to be. So Sickle and Eclipse, its primary aspect is edge, so it'll get to 10 edge and 9 moon, and then Desires and Dissolutions is in a similar boat. I'm trying to think what my I feel like Serpents and Venom is primary scale, yeah. I'm trying to think what a primary moon is. Tridesma Hyra. So that we're a far way off. But yeah, you get the idea, right? Like once you have 10, once you are working with 10 moon, like that's it. So, you know, we're two moon away, but we also have things like the Wormwood Dream. So yeah, you know, it's in this case here, like, is it easy? Well, no, we need to somehow come up with 8 moon. And, if I rely on the Wormwood Dream, okay, but maybe the Wormwood Dream is not the end all be all. Like maybe I would like to try and attempt this with other things. But again, we have a few different ways of handling this, so I'm not ready to give up. The other thing is that because I can generate Asmiel at a fairly regular rate, I do have not just the Wormwood Dream, but I have an ink that I can use to give myself an edge in terms of reading these things as well. So I suspect Moon will be my primary source of new knowledge for the next little while, but we'll also try and turn that into some other advantages. So for instance, with the Wound Wounds, I do think I am capable of making Perinculate. So if I can make Perinculate, then there's an argument that maybe with Sickle and Eclipse, I should be able to read these more difficult edge books, and then the knowledge that comes out of those eventually should be rolled into some of the other books that I'm reading as well. But we got our primary goal taken care of, which was all of the lessons with a day to spare. We've cataloged some new books, and I think while I do want to make sure that I handle the books that I've got on the in the queue right now, I do actually want to start thinking, like, Forge would be a big one for me to start paying some more attention to in terms of what I can get moving with. And then there is a point where I do want to start messing around with some of the moon, like moon memories, some of the moon hires. That, if I wait till spring, would be best, because of course then the miners come and we'll be able to work with them. That'll just give us one moon to work with that we wouldn't otherwise have. But again, all of that will be handled in another video. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you had a good time, and we will see you next week. Take care.